Welcome to episode 187 of a new episode of Lost in the Script TV. The verdict. A lot of verdicts came down. Another week has passed. Hope you had a stress-free week as possible, as always. Got some stuff to get to. Trump's still out here. Trump's still out here moving crazy. We got a lot to get to with that. We're going to talk about this Captain America movie and the controversy behind it, which really isn't that controversial, but anytime there's a movie like that and they replace certain characters with certain people, we know what we're going to get. Anyway, Regina, how you doing? Peace to Duke in the chat. Peace to you. Peace to everyone that come in. Please be sure to like it on your way in. Thank you. Hold on. Let me just fix something right quick as always. Hold on. All right. Let's get it. I'm ready now. How y'all doing? All right. We can get right into it. More backlash for what they call the race swapping that's been going on in movies forever, especially the last couple of decades or so, and the gender swapping that's going on in movies. But Anthony Mackie is the first Black on-screen Captain America, why his historic role is controversial. So the movie Captain America, what's it called? Hold on, let me go and get an article up. Hold on, y'all. All right, let me get to this. Captain America can be an Asian man. Captain America can be a woman. Captain America could be anyone who stands for the ideals of Captain America stands for, said Captain American comic book writer Mark Waid. Anthony Mackie taking on the role of Captain America, a fictional comic book character initially portrayed as a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes, isn't groundbreaking to comic book fans. The idea of a black man as a patriot superhero was introduced in 1998 by writer Mark Waid in the comic book Captain America: Sentinel of Liberty, where, according to Waid, Sam Wilson first picked up a costume and took the identity of Captain America. After two decades of Sam Wilson became Cap in the comics, a black Captain America in the movie adaptations has turned into a contentious topic. The issue of a black Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe first arose after Chris Evans, who portrayed Cap on screen for 8 years, passed the mantle to Mackie's Falcon in 2019 Avengers Endgame. Fans were upset with Evans' departure, and some felt Mackie wasn't capable of taking on the superpowered role. Though some eventually warmed up to the idea after seeing him in 2021 critically acclaimed Disney series Falcon and Winter Soldier, where Mackie's Falcon grapples with the complicated notion that what it means to be a black man to be Captain America. The vitriol against actor ramped back up during the press run for Captain America: Brave New World. All right. We've spoken about this before with this Hollywood deciding to replace certain characters with replacing them with the women or black people. They definitely have ramped up the gender swapping the last 5 to 10 years, but the race swapping has been a thing that has been complained about by a lot of people. As black people, we tend to just call them racist for these fake characters being turned black, quote unquote. But in reality, I think a lot of us can admit that some characters need to embody a certain, not just morals or ideals. Sometimes it is an aesthetic. Like, I don't want to, and it's one of those things with me where I'm sick and tired of black people taking on certain roles, then getting backlash, and then calling the people that they get the backlash from racist and others. Look, man, you knew, and I'm not really talking to him per se, but just in general, you know when you take certain roles that it's going to lead to backlash, and you still take it, and then you want to use that as some sort of way to push some type of virtue signaling. It's like, bruh, I don't want to see a black Captain America when you have black characters in comic books that you can make stories about. Instead of turning a white character black, just go get the other characters if you want to make movies based off of them. I said the same thing with James Bond. Remember a few years ago they were trying to make Idris Elba. They were pitching Idris Elba as James Bond. I mean, I don't care about James Bond, but at the same time, why would you want to take that role? So I'm glad that Idris Elba, regardless if he actually had an opportunity to do it or not, he came out and was like, no, I'm good. Because no, I don't want to have to deal with that. Mark said, the first Captain America in the comic book was black before Steve Rogers. Yeah, but that really don't matter now because they have put it on screen now. Because let's be honest, most people, regardless if it's a movie that's based off of a novel or based off of a comic book, people don't go back and read stuff, and most people weren't reading those things back then. So the first time people see these characters is on screen. So now you put a look to the character already. That's how people are going to identify them from now on. To then try and change it up to try and say it doesn't matter who played this role based off of race, when now it does. You've made Chris Evans Captain America for 8 years. You've given him, and let's be honest, when you talk about the MCU series, Marvel Cinematic Universe, out of all those characters, the ones who probably had the best movies probably was Captain America. His movies, the storytelling, the character development of his movie was probably the best. Obviously, I like Black Panther, the first one. I didn't really like the second one. I think Iron Man, the first one was good, but I didn't really like the other ones that much. I didn't like the Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff. So a lot of people have a lot of those people who are big fans of the comic book stuff like Captain America because his movies were also the best. So now you're changing his character, you're changing his race. You know how they're going to react to it. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It is what it is now. Mark said the comic is called Red, White, and True. Red, White, and it's called Truth, Red, White, and Black. Okay. Well, yeah, they don't care about that because they ain't going back and reading it. They don't care if the first one was black. It's the same thing with a halftime show. You've seen a whole bunch of white people saying, let's make the halftime show go back to its roots and bring on these pop artists and stuff. Like, well, the first halftime show was Michael Jackson. So technically, with all these black acts coming up during the Super Bowl, is actually now getting back to its roots. But yeah, I just wish people would stop taking these roles. It doesn't do you any justice because it can blow up in your face. Now, these comic book MCU movies are too big to fail for the most part. They're going to generate money, and people are going to watch them because they're connected to other TV shows and movies, and people want to get the whole story. But sometimes these actors, man, they take a real hit when they take on certain roles, and the fans give them backlash. I don't know if it's really worth it to get in front of that many people who don't want you to play a role. Sometimes it backfires. Mark said casual fans are complaining, not comic fans. I agree with that. Although I'm sure there's some comic fans of a certain hue that are complaining. But yeah, the people who read the comments, I don't think they're mad with much that's happened with the with these. During the Black Panther 2 discourse, when people were angry that they killed off Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, when they killed his character T'Challa, people who weren't really the biggest comic book fans were angry because you could have just recast him the same way you did, all these other characters. While some said, well, what happened in that movie actually happens in the comic book at some point. It may not happen that way, but it happens, so it's not that big of a deal. So it's always going to be that split and divide between the two. But I just wish, please, black people, stop taking these roles that have historically been a certain way on screen and then act shocked when there's backlash. Please. We're going to get to another person taking on a role that people are going to complain about later, but let's jump to this. ASAP Rocky, freshly acquitted in gun case, named creative director of Ray-Ban. Let me do this. And I'm not giving hand claps because I'm necessarily in support of him or not, because I don't know what happened. They said he shot somebody. There's a video of him having a scuffle with someone and pulling a firearm. He said it was a prop gun and it didn't really shoot bullets. The guy said that he did shoot him. He had scratches on his finger, I think it was, where he said the bullets grazed him. I saw somebody say on the internet that they remind him so much of the Tory Lane case with Meg Thee Stallion. And he said the reason why Tory won this case is because the guy came to the courtroom with ashy hands. And he said you have to fit a certain aesthetic to win certain cases, especially against these, celebrities. Obviously, Rihanna was in there. But what I want to say is this reminded me a lot of what we saw in the 90s. How you have people accused of certain crimes, where the shootout or some type of crime, right? Some type of felony. They would go to court, get acquitted, and then immediately lead to an album rollout. That's how they were introduced to you. Because right after this, as you can see here in this headline, he was named the creative director of Ray-Ban, and he has an album coming that people thought was going to drop last year, but he pushed back. So I asked the question, this whole situation, now I would love to think that no one would do all of this for an album rollout. Because this has been a thing for the last 2 years or so. He's kind of been trying to change his public image, running around with Rihanna, taking pictures everywhere he could, having kids, It might just be, a man living his life and, building his family. But at the same time, it's kind of funny how this happened at the same time during this case. So I'm hoping this wasn't just some rollout, but congratulations to him. I want to show this, though. People kept bringing up Rihanna and saying this is what happened when you have a billionaire wife. So let me show you the reaction when he was found not guilty.
The Los Angeles Superior Court, County of Los Angeles. People of the State of California versus Joaquin Meyers. Case number BA 508142-01. We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Meyers, not guilty of the
reaction seems appropriate, seeing how they were saying he was looking at 24 years. But what this did remind me of, this immediately connected to, remember that magazine ASAP and Rihanna did a few, I think it was last year, beginning of last year, if I'm not mistaken, where they were on some type of beach or something, and she was in front of him, holding his hand, like pulling him behind her while he was holding the kid. And his stance that he was in as he was walking came off a little, and people were saying he looked feminine on this magazine cover, and she was like leading him like she was the masculine. And we always talk about on here the masculine and feminine, how in the industry they have this worship of the masculine and divine masculine and feminine energies, because they're into that esoteric beliefs. But it's kind of funny. It did lean right into that, not necessarily his reaction to being not guilty, but immediately run into her in the courtroom. I don't know. It just worked to me. But I want to show this too. And Regina said, it reminded me of Bobby and Whitney. Well, yeah, and Bobby and Whitney. I feel bad for Bobby Brown because of how much his name took a hit during that relationship. But man, he did put her through some things. That's the story of him getting kidnapped because he owed money for drugs, and her paying the money off. There was another story of somebody he owed money to, a drug dealer, was locked up, was on bond, and Whitney Houston paid his bond. I believe the bond was like $1.5 million. So that relationship is a roller coaster. Then the TV show that they had, the reality TV show that they had, when we finally got to see the real Whitney, it was like, oh yeah, she's from Jersey. And I want to show this. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about on this particular story. I want to show this. ASAP Rocky, who's the man that said that he shot him, breaks silence after ASAP Rocky is found not guilty in a gun assault trial. Now, this ASAP Rocky person, as you can see, his name is ASAP Rocky. So he was a part of the group ASAP Mob, leader ASAP Rocky. Apparently, they got into ASAP Rocky felt angered towards ASAP Rocky because someone passed away that was close to them, and they said that ASAP Rocky didn't pay the funeral expenses. Or at least they wanted him to pay it. He didn't. They had a phone conversation or texting back and forth. Threats were levied, and ASAP Rocky said, let's meet up, which led to them getting into a fisticuffs, and it led to a alleged shooting happening or whatever. And it went back to the whole thing where when people get money, the people that they quote unquote leave behind have a certain level of resentment that they don't, at their any chance they call, say yes. At the old line that you hear people say all the time, you say yes all the time, but the first time I say no, yeah, like I never did nothing for you. I don't know how how I would feel if someone I felt was so up as ASAP Rocky decided not to pay for a funeral when I was in the same situation and group. You know, just because he has the success, some people, hey man, some how they say, sometimes you got to leave people behind. And the same people you call your brother, the same people that'll wear your name, ASAP. He's wearing the same name as the man, same stage name, but he's willing to get on the stand and possibly, based off this case, lie on him to destroy his life. Kind of crazy. Which tells me it has nothing to do with no funeral expenses. It had nothing to do with any of that. It was just resentment and anger because someone else is living the life you think you deserve. Got to be careful. All right, what is this?
Yeah, and it's clear that Jay-Z's not letting this go.
Last week I said that Jay-Z dropped his charges against Tony Busby, along with obviously the case being dropped against Jay-Z, but I was wrong. I made sure to post in the community. Jay-Z is still holding his lawsuit against Tony Busby, if that's how you say it. He's still pursuing the lawsuit. Let me show this.
You read his declaration in that case where he is suing Tony Busby. What he's saying is, I viewed these letters as an existential threat to my reputation, everything I've worked my whole life to build, and he wasn't going to take it lying down. So even though this lawsuit's been dismissed with prejudice, the one against him, it seems like Jay-Z's going forward and will continue to pursue Busby, maybe to, sort of send a message that you can't do this to a certain type of celebrity, not him.
Well, Jay-Z was calling Busby a 1-800 lawyer.
Called him a 1-800 lawyer and says the system needs to change. You can't have guys like this blowing up the lives of innocent people with allegations that he should be vetting and understand are not true. This is what Jay-Z had to say about this case against Busby. He said, I felt that Mr. Busby was placing a gun to my head, that I either bow to his demands or endure personal and financial ruin. As for the lawsuit filed on behalf of the female accuser, Jay-Z says, Mr. Busby purposely filed this on the eve of my daughter's premiere to put me in the position of having to choose between supporting my daughter or hiding to a press.
Well, that's true. And I still believe that Tony Busby is playing as the sacrificial lamb or martyr, if you want to say, for the internet conspiracies that's been coming against Jay-Z for the past 20 years. I think this is because, like I said, the last 2 years, the Jay-Z conspiracies have been getting loud and louder and louder. I think this is to try and quiet that storm that was brewing. So he's taking down somebody publicly in the courts to try and clear all that up. So that's what I believe. What up, Keeper? That was the whole purpose of this. There still may be a situation where somebody was paid back behind the scenes to, perform and display. Let me show this now. Another character, another person like Anthony Mackie, although I won't put it all on Anthony Mackie because in the comic books, as Mark Golden says, this is it's natural what happens with Captain America. But Cynthia played in that movie Wicked. The audience did not want her in the show, even though I think it made a lot of money. So it is what it is. People took their kids to go see it. Now, Cynthia to star as Jesus in Hollywood Bowl production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Can't wait, the Wicked actress wrote. Cynthia next role is the exact opposite of Wicked. As announced Tuesday, the singer-actress is locked in to star as a role as Jesus Christ Superstar, running 3 nights in a row with Hollywood Bowl this August. The Pinocchio actor personally shared the news of her casting on Instagram. Oh yeah, she was in Pinocchio too. If you go look at the Pinocchio reviews on YouTube, oh my God, it was on her bad. They kept comparing her to the woman who played in Pinocchio the first time. I think she was in not Snow White. What's the other movie? The princess movie? I forgot the name of it. She played as a fairy godmother or something. Oh man. They've been calling her all type of ugly. It's bad. The way they were talking about her like a doll. Keep it throwing. I'll pass. Yeah. And to me, these type of productions or whatever is just meant to cause anger and backlash. They know exactly what the headline is going to create. Number one, you have a woman playing Jesus. Number two, you have a black, quote unquote, black woman playing Jesus. And then Hollywood is doing a movie about Jesus. So I would imagine it's going to be a Christian film. So they already know the Christians are going to be angry, the evangelicals. They already know the backlash they're going to receive. And we all been saying this for the past couple of years, that they've kind of been using rage bait in movies to garner people to come watch the movie. It's almost like they have to piss off one half of the country to get the other half to look at the movies. Which said trash attitude. Yeah, they've been. And I don't know if I've seen a foreign actress get this much pub in America in a long time. Most of the time, these foreign actors, they play in these movies, they get their interviews for the movies, and it's kind of just how it is. She's been thrown in back-to-back big-time movies. She's in doing all type of interviews. She's in everywhere you can think of. They're making sure she's there. They're pushing her so hard in the media. And every time she get posted, all you see is Black Americans pointing out the stuff she said about Black Americans years ago. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work for her. Kiva says it's hard to get past her bizarre behavior off screen. Yeah. And even the, what's the girl name from Wicked? The singer, I forgot her name. There was this insinuation, what's her name? Hold on, y'all. Let me look up this name. Ariana Grande, I don't pay attention to her a lot. I don't know much about her, but obviously I've seen her before. She sang at whatchamacallit's funeral. Have anybody noticed the weight loss? The weight loss is seemed kind of a bit extreme. I know she may just be, I don't know if I remember her being that skinny. The last time we saw somebody in public with that much weight loss during that movie premiere was Chadwick Boseman, and we know he was dealing with what he was dealing with. So, and then there was an insinuation that they were being very flirty in the media and in public. As we know, Cynthia is in a relationship with Lena Ray. I think that's her name. So yeah, it's a lot going on. A lot going on with it. And it's another thing. It's another part. You have a lesbian woman playing Jesus. Like, come on, you know what you're doing. Anyway, why does she keep getting movie roles? Does her movie sell? Well, she's in a lot of those animation, or what's the name of I won't say Disney, but Disney movies. She was in Wicked, she was in Pinocchio, she was in the other princess movie as a fairy godmother. So yeah, she's in a lot of those movies that's gonna garner a lot of money because kids are gonna go watch it. So yeah. Keeper says she's weird. Regina says, in an esoteric world, Jesus was a woman in a theory. Yeah. Kiefer, Ariana, y'all got it. Regina, remember when Whitney looked that thin too? Yeah, but as far as we know, that ain't what led to her demise, some type of disease or something. As far as we know, it has something to do. We don't get into that whole situation because Suge Knight is coming out saying Ray J has something to do with it, which has been a thing since she passed. Considering they said Ray J was so strange. The Ray J Whitney situation. People called it out though. People talked about it, so it didn't go under the rug. But even all this time, it's still strange. But anyway, but yeah, that's a whole situation. A quote unquote black female lesbian playing Jesus. All right, Hollywood. Speaking of blasphemy. Let me show this next. He said she was asked to leave a hotel because her and her partner got a little extra. I wouldn't be surprised. Regina says, in Hollywood, it seems like recycled stories with different faces. Definitely is. There's a new face every couple of years that they just heavily promote. Like I said, I haven't seen them promote a foreign actress this much. I can't think of the last one, but yeah. All right, let me play this now. Since we're talking about blasphemy and religion. Growing up, the rap group 3 6 Mafia was always associated with satanic beliefs, obviously 3-6 Mafia. But now DJ has, one of the people in the group, DJ, he's come out and said that they're not into that and that it was just a name. Even though when you listen to some of the music, watch the music videos, and I want to say that they were one of the groups, down south groups, should I say, that brought in the rock star energy into hip hop. You know, the rock artists in the 80s and 90s, when they started doing the whole open Satanism, you know, biting heads off of birds on stage and all the other stuff. It was really 3-6 Mafia and all them that really brought that to the forefront in Southern hip hop. Let me play this.
How did you guys come up with the name 3-6 Mafia? Because there's been so much speculation to you guys' name because it does have 666 in it.
Yeah, it came from that. Basically, Lord Infamous said 666 Mafia in a song. That wasn't even our group name. He just said it. He was just like, a 666 Mafia, born and down, and a silencer. And I liked that. And I was like, whoa, that's dope. And I just started sampling 666 Mafia, and that became really popular with us. And that still wasn't our name. I would just sample that, and then, you know, when it was time to form a group, I was like, hey, we should call ourselves 666 Mafia, and everybody liked it. And then next thing I know, white fans came like that.
See?
They flocked to us. Next thing I know, we got a call to do a show in Bartlett, Tennessee. I'm like, Bartlett, Tennessee? I'm like, I don't even know black folks can go out there. And then next thing I know, I started doing shows in number white club.
I know Lord Infamous has gone on record to say that he dabbled in like Satanism and all that stuff.
Yeah, he didn't do that for real.
He didn't?
Hell no.
I just watched an interview with him last night where he was talking about how he went to hell and demons were torturing him, and like it was crazy. And I was
he was just high.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, grew up singing Amazing Grace in the church, and I was playing the organ. Everybody know that. He was in the church every Sunday. In Mississippi, it don't get no more churcher than a Mississippi church.
I love that you call him out like that, though. You're like, no, that's my brother. Nope, he grew up singing Amazing Grace. So there was no real satanic reasoning behind the name.
No.
The lore has always just kind of like, your reputation precedes you.
Yeah, it was just an image. It was just something that was cool. We never studied Satan or any of that. I don't know nothing about all that.
How did you guys?
Keeper said they had some great hits. Oh, definitely. Facts. What up, Honorable? Yeah, they definitely had hits, though. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, it's funny to me. He immediately acknowledged that the second that they made their name, 3-6 Mafia, associated with that type of content, they gained a whole bunch of white fans. I want to say they're the ones that introduced that to the Southern hip hop scene, because that really wasn't a thing. Then we know in the 90s in Midwest, it was what's their name? Hold on, y'all. That's it. But they admitted to they admitted to what they were into with witches and Satanism. They admitted their what they were doing. Anyway, I want to show this story because this is crazy. Very strange Black History Month this year, but let me show this one. Woman says man held her against her will, forced her to watch Roots to understand racism. You said Bone, yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Whatever 3-6 Mafia is saying how they weren't into it, we know they admitted to in the interviews that they were. The woman said that when she tried to move, Robert Noye told her to remain seated and made threats to kill her. An Iowa woman is accusing an Iowa man, is accused of forcing a woman to watch the ministry's Roots, purportedly to better understand her racism. The man, Robert Lee Noye, however you say it, 52, faces charges of harassment and false imprisonment, according to Greg Bulow, the public safety spokesman of Cedar Rapids. Said, what? Yeah, this is the craziest case. On Monday, Cedar Rapids police were sent to an area in the city for an open line 911 call with lots of screaming, police said in a statement. Dispatchers and officers were able to find the home of by using GPS. When they arrived, an intoxicated man, later identified as Noye, or answered the door. A 37-year-old woman and her 12-year-old daughter were found crying inside. A woman told police that Noye had been assaulting her all night and had made her sit with him to watch the ministry's Roots, based on Alex Haley's best-selling book, Roots. Now, we know that Alex Haley, he actually stole that. That was plagiarism. He was sued for plagiarism and lost to a white man. But anyway, the saga of an American family, which drew attention to the brutality of slavery. The ministries aired in ABC in 1977 and won a host of awards, including multiple Emmys and a Peabody. The woman said that she tried to move. Noye would told her he would remain. She told her to remain silent and made threats to kill her. She was eventually able to call 911 and leave the line open, according to police. He was arrested and taken to the Lynn County Jail. He was not listed as an inmate on Tuesday evening. Now, I want to pause before I laugh because she said he assaulted her. Now, I don't know what assault she means, so I don't want to laugh too hard. But kidnapping a woman, and unfortunately for the 12-year-old daughter, that's kind of crazy. But kidnapping someone or holding someone hostage and making them watch Roots and Black History Month to understand race. Man, Keeper said, I said Rosewood would have been a better movie to make her watch. Yeah, because it was a white woman that caused all that. You're right. But that was crazy. Now, I did see his name, so I don't know if he's Black American or not, but hey, man, that was crazy. People doing some strange stuff nowadays. Because they ain't do nothing. All that did was make her, if she was already on that type of timing, all it did was get worse for her. All you did was prove her right, that a black man would kidnap me and force me. Mark goes to almost sound like a Chappelle. Exactly. It don't even sound real. When I first saw it, I just immediately thought well, we don't believe you. You need more people. But then you see it on NBC News and all those other places like, all right, I guess this is real. Then you see his face, and y'all see the face. He high. He just drunk as hell, high, smiling. Look at him. Not a care in the world. He think he righteous. He think he did something righteous. And they finna throw the book at your ass though. You smiling now, but all right. He said she traumatized. She more traumatized from Roots than him. The movie is what got her spooked. Oh man. I want to show y'all something. Yeah, that's how it goes. Hold on. Yeah, we'll go here. We'll jump forward. We're gonna say one for the team. He definitely gonna take one because they're gonna give him the book. Mainly for the daughter being there, him making the daughter stay. That's, it's not gonna be good for him. But anyway, let me show this. Now, I normally don't talk about stuff like this, but there's a conspiracy brewing. Yeah, there's a conspiracy brewing right now that I'm waiting to see if something comes from it. I know y'all know about old Zeus Network. Zeus Network, some of the most low-level, low-vibrational content you will ever see in your life. I grew up at least in my young years. We saw, Flavor of Love and For the Love of Ray J and all that other type of stuff. It was low vibrational stuff, but it was more funny than anything. They get on TV now and just flat out fight and just do all type of crazy stuff. Now I'm bringing this up for a reason. There's this TV show on Zeus called Ways With Erica Mena. Yeah, Zeus Network. Yeah. Erica Mena, she was on what's that? I think Love and Hip Hop, one of those. Love and Hip Hop New York, I think it was. It said men and women try to outlast each other as they fight for Erica Mena's affection in 2 Ways with Erica Mena. But we don't really care about the show. I want to show this right here. Now, I know y'all remember this dude. This is the dude who was on that Pop the Balloon show, internet show, a couple months ago. He went viral for telling all the women that they don't qualify and all that other stuff, and how he was a electrician or something. I can't remember. And he lost his job, and then he was a funny dude. People started calling him Turtle. So he's on this show, this show to get Erica Mena's love now. And he gets in a fight, and I'm going to show the fight now.
We went blow for blow, nigga. My shit blew harder. And boom, I catch him. Boom, he just dropped. I just see him fall, slow-mo.
He said, well, yeah, his name was Aaron. I got it right here. Let me just make sure. They show the cast. These are all the people that's on this show, because apparently she's bisexual, so she has men and women on the show vying for her love, as they say. Let me get to him. This dude right here, Hopkins, and Aaron Sloan is his name. Now, unfortunately, this dude right here is apparently a adult film star. But after this show, because I don't know when this was shot, but after it aired, at least it came out at least that he is now deceased. Apparently, he was killed or shot. He's deceased, right? And now we see the other guy, Aaron Sloan. He came out and said that he was killed and that they're after him next and that people been following him. Now, he might be just trying to get some clout or whatever. I don't know. But I'm going to make a point after I show the video.
Your support, I feel like my life is in jeopardy. 2 people that were on Zeus Network are now deceased. Raina Dunlap was on her way to a baddies audition and was found deceased inside of a abandoned building. Jay Hefner, 1 month after filming with Zeus Network, was mysteriously deceased as well. Why is Zeus Network not saying anything about Raina Dunlap or Jay Hefner? I'm not about to be the third person, so I'm going to speak out on this. Somebody's definitely been following me. Mysterious stuff has been happening.
Keepers had to get a shot in, didn't Keepers? Nobody wants somebody.
Somebody mysteriously drove their car through my living room.
Oh, let's see. That's some proof.
Okay? Y'all see they created the distraction. They try to start a beef between me and Kevin Gates. Now, I don't know if Kevin Gates was speaking subliminally, in regards to me after his initial video, but that's the impression that I got.
Keep in mind now, Aaron Sloan been known for whooping ass on these shows. This is first L he took was to this other dude. He been whooping everybody else's ass. Anonymous says same dude, Hispanic women started fall from the sky claiming he was beating on them. Shake my head. Well, he was beating on dudes too.
And I thought that a female gave them, because Zeus has been very persistent trying to get my address. I don't know why, because they know I have no interest in dealing with them whatsoever. I had my friend reach out to a female to ask her if she gave Zeus Network my address. And my friend is in his own neighborhood, and 2 hours after asking her, 2 random men come and stab him in the back of his head, and he's now in the hospital. This isn't no coincidence, okay? Look into all the contestants' names on the show. They all have Greek mythology. All names refer to Greek mythology. Look into that, man.
That ain't just on this show. I've been saying that's in the industry. You look up Rihanna. You look up a lot of these names. Not like Keeper said, his GoFundMe is going to pop up before the video ends. Scammer. He may be a scammer, but what he's saying is not completely BS. But yeah, anyway.
And Zeus is demonic. I don't have enough money to go against these people. These people want to harm me. This is an attack on blue-collar workers. That's exactly why they're trying to emasculate me in the films that they're showing. Okay? It doesn't even matter. This is deeper than who won the fight between me and Jay Hefner. That doesn't even matter anymore. What matters is, I'm telling y'all, I feel like my life is in danger, and I need your support. All of this is over Erica Mena slapped me. I already uploaded the film. You already heard where Jay Hefner said that she tried to slap him as well. This is and if you look into the Greek mythology stuff.
What up, Dre? What's good? What's good? Mark said, porn stars are blue collar workers. Hey man, they gotta work with nuts and bolts, so yeah, I'm sorry. Dre said, oh dang, it's Aaron. Yeah.
This this is some creepy stuff. You know, I need y'all support. Ramadan is coming up. I just want to get back on my spirituality path.
All right, enough. Now we'll say that the woman he spoke of, Raina Dunlap. Now, this woman here, Raina Dunlap, support equal money. Raina Dunlap, if you don't know her, she was a Twitter, before it was X, she was a Twitter influencer who posted some of her home videos. Let's say it like that. She posted some home videos online. This is before OnlyFans. This is before people was paying for that type of stuff from quote unquote people, random people on the internet. So she was just doing it for the love, I guess. She used to post some of her home videos with her partners, and they would go viral. And one video she posted, she went viral once. You might have seen or heard about this one where she was playing some dude and told him if he come over and perform a sexual favor for her, she may give him some. But when he got there and performed the favor, she decided, no, I don't want you. She played him, basically. It was funny. People was laughing at him, whatever. Now, she been on her timeline talking kind of crazy. In the last year or so, if you go back to her, after she passed away, I went back to her X page or Twitter page. She had tweets saying that she's been followed, all this other stuff. Now, in her tweets, she kept saying that an ex was following her. I don't know what was going on. But now, looking at the fact of what happened, it may not have been an ex. It may have been something else. Dre says, okay, dude with the dad jokes. Virginia says, I was warning, I believe him just on the occult side of the game, even if he's scamming. Yeah, people can scam the truth too. Just strike those first three words, sorry. Yeah, so with this, Raina Dunlap had over 100,000 followers across platforms. Her sister and mother have taken to social media to try and investigate her cause of death. Now, apparently she went to Cleveland, or she was in Ohio, should I say, but they're saying Cleveland in particular, and that she was there to be on Zeus. Now, he said Baddies. That's the one I kept hearing that she was trying to be on this show called Baddies. But apparently she was there to be on another show, as far as what the sister said. Let me show this. Let me show this. He was 30 years old from Prince George's County. Okay. I'm sorry. This is some reason it just got. Oh, here you go. Oh no, it just said. It said the family speculates that Dunlap may have traveled to Cleveland to audition for a reality show, Baddies Midwest, a program she was a fan of. However, there was no confirmation of this, and no one knows why she was in Cleveland. They are awaiting results of her toxicology report to gain further insight into her death. Now, this was on the 2nd or the 5th that this article was released, and she was gone in January, the middle of January. There's still no report. I'm bringing this up to say the name of the network is Zeus. I've been saying for the longest that some of these people in the industry are into this esoteric or occultic stuff, and they do things, numerology, they do things to align up with some type of spiritual development. Honorable said, and he's a Muslim, shake my head. Dre said, facts between Zeus Network is another program, a part of the agenda. Honorable said, sir, why do you know this? Because it's the internet. What do you mean? I don't know her that well, but I know that I knew that viral video she did, and once she passed away on the timeline, people were talking about it. I went back and looked at her timeline to see what was going on. Dre says, yep, here's a true jailbird, facts. So I'm just saying, the family said that she didn't do hard drugs. She was trying to get on this Zeus Network TV show, and now 2 or 3 people associated with the show haven't just died, have seemingly been killed or attacked. I'll say attacked at least, because the other old buddy got stabbed, but he didn't die. I'm just saying, It look like they're after some negative energy. They're looking for some dark matter or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, this story, this Rena Dunlap story should be bigger because of what she was into and the reason why she was in this city to be a part of this show, and she popped up dead in an abandoned house. She said people was following her. This dude, Aaron, he may be scamming, but he said people are following him. They're trying to get his address. I don't know. Just saying. Zeus may end up being something way deeper than we think it is. Mr. Smith said, nothing suspicious, just another organ theft. That's possible too. Especially considering it was a black woman, and we know black people, unfortunately, in the organ trade, the black market trade, a high commodity. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2 years if we don't see something come out about these mysterious deaths. And there may be more than we know of. Virginia says, we are the original frequency, don't realize the power we rep to the lower frequencies on this planet. Let me show this now. Let me show this. This led to a lot of discourse too.
One of the reasons Barack Obama was made president is so he could normalize the LGBTQ agenda in the black community.
I remember, I'm going to pause for a second. I remember when Pastor Darby said this had to be like the pandemic really messed up my sense of time. This had to be like 2016, 2015, 2017, somewhere in that 3-year period, where he was saying that the biggest scandal that ever hit the White House is going to be Obama being gay. He said everybody's going to be shocked. Now, the theories are still out there, but it hasn't been officially being revealed. Y'all noticed that Michelle Obama and Barack, they've been a lot more lovey-dovey in the public now. I don't want to say he's a fan. Don't call me no damn freaky ass nigga. Keeper, he's right. Good point. Yeah, so let me play this.
Think about it. If George Bush tried to push homosexuality in the black community, we would have rejected him.
Of course.
If Donald Trump tried to push homosexuality in the black community, we would have rejected him.
Of course.
Same thing happened with the COVID shots. They couldn't they couldn't use Trump to push it to a certain audience because they were so anti-Trump in the media. So they needed Biden. But anyway.
You could only normalize that through a blackface.
Through a black man.
Obama was made president to make it normal. When Barack Obama became president, homosexuality was not a mainstream issue, nor was it accepted as a mainstream alternative to the traditional family.
I gotta look at
By the time he left office in 2008, they were completely running everything.
Was
and
that
if
the
you
year?
even disagreed with, I'm gonna give you an example.
It is.
I do a lot of graduation speeches, right? At the June.
Okay.
Elementary school, middle school, high school. I normally do about 20 graduation speeches a season.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
When Barack Obama was president, I might have did 5. It dropped significantly. Schools who I normally did their commencement, they was calling me up, Dr. Umar, we can't have you speak this year. Why? The LGBTQ say you don't agree with them, you can't speak. I said, but this is a graduation speech. This ain't politics. This is motivation. Get ready for the rest of your life. What does LGBT got to do with my 10-minute speech motivating these 12th graders to make sure you do well in college? Well, we have LGBT teachers and they're saying you're insensitive and you're homophobic. So I saw how not agreeing with the lifestyle could limit your opportunities in life. You had people getting fired from jobs, not for pushing hate, because I don't agree with hate. I don't agree with the lifestyle. But I don't want harm for any human, no matter what their situation is.
That's the way to do it.
But the way that they did it was the LGBTQ said, to disagree with me is to hate me. They created a narrative that if you disagree, you support violence against me. You don't want us to work. You want us to be shot, killed, man. We never said that.
That's ridiculous.
We just said we don't agree with the lifestyle. But they turned it into a whole campaign against anybody who disagreed with it. And that's another reason why a lot of people didn't vote for Kamala Harris, black men, because they got tired of the effeminization. And then they took it to Africa. Obama started it. He went to Africa. He went to Liberia. He went to Rwanda, a couple other places. He said, if you don't legalize gay marriage, we cutting off your aid. Now, mind you, this is the oldest civilization on earth. How are you going to go to the oldest people in the world and say, if you don't legalize same-sex marriage, we're going to cut your aid off? So that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, because you don't go to Africa to help. You go to force this.
He did that for real?
Yes, he did. And then Kamala Harris did it. She did it. They all did it. So a lot of us, especially the Pan-Africanists, we like,
fucked up.
Nah, we can't support that type of a lifestyle. So I think a lot of people got tired of all these rogue agendas of the Democratic Party. And I'm going to be honest with you, out of all of them, I think it was the transgenders participating in sports that really broke the back.
Yeah. Because don't nobody fuck with that.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody, like, I don't know nobody who support that except them.
Democrat, Republican.
Absolutely.
Like,
they went too far.
We're going to get to that a little bit later. More of that, at least, with the Democratic Party and their loss of support. Keefa sent a video with O'Shea Duke Jackson and Ronald O'Neill. I'm going to show that later. Hold on. Let me get to this, though. It's always something in it. Let me show this. I talked about this like 2 weeks ago. I don't think I'm going to read all this situation that happened. It just goes back. I'm going to show something. We're going to talk the idea of privatizing our... How do we find a way to share something with a particular group of people online, but make sure it's not infiltrated by people with other agendas? Because you make something public, anybody can be a part of it. But when you make everybody a part of it, it grows faster, but then people can start to pick at things and make things go a totally different route than you wanted it to. Welcome to Hillman Talk University, the digital HBCU inspired by a different world. I talked about this, like I said, like 2 weeks ago. There was a teacher, or should I say a professor, who created a course on her TikTok for her class, but she accidentally left it public instead of making it private for just her students. She made it accidentally left it public. That inspired other people to start doing these courses on TikTok about, African American studies, speaking different languages in classes and all the other stuff. It basically was like an online college. You had a bunch of professors, or at least people that are teachers or whatever. They would get in and give information for free. It seems normal, seemed like a good thing. It was mainly black people. I want to say, from what I've seen at least, it was not majority, but it seemed to lean towards more black women, but it was black people in general doing this. And somebody decided to host a little kickback, charge $20 and use the money to give scholarships to people. Money was involved. I seen people complaining about on these in these lectures or on these online TikTok courses, the comment section would be flooded with white people, particularly white women. In the comments, I saw one black woman complaining that it was a white woman in the comments lusting over this black male professor. And anytime these black women would ask questions, the white people feel like they should answer in the comments, even though they're talking to the person in the video. And so it led to a lot of animosity between that situation. But all in all, I want to show, if I still have this, I should still have it. I'm going to show this. This person went through the whole rundown of how it happened. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to start at the beginning and I'm going to jump around. So to start, Hillman Talk was unintentionally created by Dr. Leah Barlow, a professor of African American Studies at North Carolina A&T. She created a TikTok account for her class, which she initially thought was private, but soon went viral. The OG account is still AFAM Studies on TikTok. So she created this course. Other people started getting involved and cataloging and all the other stuff, cataloging courses and all this stuff. The enrollment, you just had to follow creators who were willing to give information. In short, initially it was all fun. It was professional people sharing their knowledge to the masses for free. It was communities of people coming together in a non-serious format. Then somebody decided to start a Hillman Talk mixer, charge $20, and the money would be given to people for scholarships, as I said. Then somebody got mad. Somebody was a little shocked and said, well, where's my invite? I wasn't invited, who was actually one of the creators or teachers in this situation. Apology came out. This is not really that big of a deal. I want to go down. So then people, the Hillman Talk University popped up on TikTok with certain creators and others claiming themselves to be the founders of Hillman Talk. Then they tried to create a board for the university, and they tried to trademark. Now, I did say that the reason why some people think they did this because there was some white people trying to trademark this or something. I don't know. So somebody tried to trademark this name and create basically a board for this fake university, which led to a whole bunch of backlash of who created it, yada, yada, yada. I think one woman was in Florida and the other was in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. They said that they wanted to create it to be a nonprofit and all this other stuff. I want to say this. I'm all for people trying to start a business and get their money. I'm not necessarily say I'm an extreme capitalist, but I think I'm a normal person who think people should get the money that they work for. I don't think that's a problem at all. But why does everything black people do, somebody try to monetize it? Someone tries to be the leader of it, the head of it. And all it leads to is a destruction of another thing that would possibly helping people. This always happens. It's a shame that anything we've created in this country, when I'm talking about create, I mean organizations, things that are meant to try and be leaders for the community that we try to create, not that a leader placed in front of us, it always folds because somebody wants to be the head. Everybody wants to be the top dog. Nobody wants to just let things be what they are. It's nothing wrong with wanting to add structure to certain things, but when the structure you're trying to add is to try and benefit monetarily, it just doesn't work. We've seen this time and time again. Now, this is something on a more smaller scale, so it's not that big a deal, but it shows a larger problem with the community at large. Things that it always fails because somebody wants to do it their way, or at least somebody gets along, meets up with somebody who's like-minded, and they want to control the whole thing. It's unfortunate. Could have been something that could have been useful, and it's still going on, I'm sure. But you trying to do this probably running some people away, not want to be associated with it, and it's probably it's a bad look. Speaking of bad looks, let me show this. This led to more backlash than I thought it would. So I'm not on TikTok, but obviously I see all these stories from it, and one I've seen that has had me laughing. So the food reviewer, Keith Lee, finally went to London to do a tour over there, food tour. Keith Lee, he went around America, went to, Atlanta and places all across the country, Vegas. He done been through all the places in America. So now he's going across the pond. And there just seemed to be this beef between the British and the Americans on TikTok in particular, because the Americans keep bringing up the beans and toast. Y'all eat beans on toast. Beans out of a can, cold on toast. So he went there and he tried their, what's it called, a British breakfast, and he didn't like it. Went viral. They were mad. They started talking crazy about they started talking about American food, saying our food is fake, filled with a bunch of stuff in it, steroids and all the other stuff. And somehow it became about Black Americans and Africans and Caribbeans in the UK. And they started making this comparison, even though all the complaints and all the jokes were being directed towards British food or English food. Because all the restaurants I've seen him go to with the Caribbeans and stuff, he's giving them good grades. It's the British food, or the English food, should I say, that he said is nasty. So you had the Africans and Caribbeans in the UK were constantly coming at Black Americans to defend white people food. And they started talking about the culture situation and, we have a Black British culture here and yada, yada, yada. And then this dude made this video that Keith Lee, and I want to show it right here. Hold on. Let me show this.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is no such thing as Black British food. There's no such thing as Black British culture. There is only African culture or Caribbean culture in Britain. You guys let Keith Lee come to London, eat beans on toast, eat a kebab with garlic mayo on it, have a fryer from a hotel. Then my man went back to America and said British food is disgusting, and you guys are losing your minds like he's not right. I mean, can you really compare cottage pie and sausage and mash, bangers and mash to soul food, American soul food, Black American food? You can't, because they have a right to have a thing called Black American culture and Black American food, whereas there is no such thing as Black British food or Black British culture. There is only African or Caribbean culture or African or Caribbean cuisine in Britain. And even when we do cook the British foods, we all know we put a little Black spin on it. We don't cook it the same way the white people do. So why you guys are choosing that this is the hill you want to die on in the comment section is beyond me. I've said it before and I'll say it again. No such thing as Black British culture. You guys cannot compare yourself to the Americans because they have a much deeper history of being Black Americans in America. We don't have that. We do not have that. There is no Black British culture or Black British food. There is only African or Caribbean food in Britain. Stop this delusion, man. I've said it.
You heard it, man. I'm gonna say those people are so confused about their identities that literally just got there in the 40s. And I'll say this with 2015, 2016, completely changed my Yvette and Tone when they introduced the ADOS thing and going at Kamala. And then I saw a woman on social media, it was a black woman, and she was debating I think it was a Nigerian she was debating. And the Nigerian person was saying, the typical, y'all don't know who you are, y'all are lost, yada, yada, yada. And she said something that really was like, oh yeah. Like you did something you didn't never think about, because you never thought about Black American as this identity, just this own demographic, its own separate identity. It was, I'm Black American, but I'm African descent type thing. She said, the Black American identity is older than all these other identities. It's the oldest Black identity on the planet. And you think about it, you go, well, we've been here for a couple hundred years. When I look at Nigeria, I can literally look at the date they changed the name to Nigeria. Haiti, Jamaica, all these other countries throughout Africa. We talk about, South Africa and Congo and all these other, Rwanda. I can look at the date that these names were created, this identity. So when you walk around and see a person from Africa say, I'm Nigerian, it's like, well, you like a couple decades, y'all, that name is young. That lineage is young. Ours is a couple hundred years older. So technically, we ain't lost. We know exactly where we are then. So I will say that my thought process on it changed dramatically when she said that. When you start looking at Black American as its own lineage and identity, it's about, whether you think it's the 400 or 500 years old, that would be the oldest one on the planet. Dre says, facts, he makes sense. Mark Golden said, in the 1960s, Honorable, these people haven't been able to truly form any culture outside of homeland. It's not even a Black culture in Canada. Dre said, if there's a Black British culture, it's just a rip-off, dietary and bootleg version of Black American culture. Regina says, Keith Lee critique white British beans on toast or Black immigrants beans on toast. I'm confused. Either way, at this point, Black immigrants are psyop to me, not sorry. Next. He critiqued white British food. That was the point. He was critiquing English food because in the comment section, he constantly gets recommended places to go eat and stuff. The majority, at least somewhat, the majority of the UK is still white. So they're telling him to go to eat their traditional national dishes. We want you to eat our food. And the other people are mad that he's not going to the Caribbean, even though he is going to Jamaican restaurants and stuff, but he's being constantly recommended these white restaurants by these white people. And he's going there and saying it's nasty. And the Black British people are getting mad that he's not going to other restaurants. Which is funny, because what that tells me is them white people want to be represented as the food of their country. They don't want Caribbean or what they call ethnic food to be a representative of their cuisine in their country. So yeah, we're going to recommend you to go eat, beans on toast. Mark Golden says, African countries got independence in the 1960s. Virginia says, okay, so then why do the Black immigrants turn everything into a Black American versus them event? Well, we know why. There was a guy on YouTube, well, he's still on YouTube. I can't remember the name of his channel, but he used to make videos going at any Black American content creator who's in the continent of Africa. Like he used to go in on Bag Family. He used to call them scammers. I forgot the other woman's name. There was a Black American woman who was in the Gambia, and she used to make videos going in on them. She was calling out the sex trafficking, calling out the what she considered to be the weakness in how they're moving politically and socially and stuff. And she ended up leaving the country and coming back to America. But he used to make these videos going at these Black Americans. And he had an interview once, and I think I talked about this on here already. He had an interview and he was asked, why do you constantly go at Black Americans? He was African. He's from the UK. He said, well, heavy is the head that wears the crown. The person who is the face of an entire demographic, you're going to be critiqued more than everybody else. You're going to be held to a standard because you're the representative for everybody else. People outside of America, the first thing they see when they see them is a Black person. Now, it's not automatically assumed that they're African American, but there's certain things they're going to attach to them immediately. So they feel like as Black Americans, because we're the representative, we have to act a certain way to make sure we carry ourselves to be respectful to every demographic of black people. From the lowest to the top. Honorable says, an Indian dish is a national dish for India. Exactly. Mark Gordon says, we got to stop saying black immigrants and say Caribbean or African. Honorable correction, chicken tikka masala is national dish of England. Well, I said this already. The most popular name in England, or the UK, should I say, the most popular name for newborns, I think last year, was Muhammad. So that means most of their kids are Muslim. That don't mean they're Arab, because there's a lot of white Muslims in the UK somehow, but yeah, it's crazy. Adam says, we do not represent those failed people, but you do globally. Virginia says, how can we be the face of those who claim they ain't us? Psyop or confusing. Hey man, I went through a whole transformation last year when I saw them say that African isn't a race. I'm still stuck on that. I keep saying that because I'm still stuck on that. Them saying that African isn't a race, that black is the race, that blew my mind. But you know, it is what it is. But yeah, Keith Lee kicked up some dust with that. He did some other food reviews. He said some positive things about some restaurants. But yeah, it just made me really look at a lot of these people compare their cultures to black Americans, particularly ones outside of Africa, obviously. We're talking about the UK, France. There's a lot of Africans in France. We call themselves the Black French identity. Obviously talking about the Caribbeans, and they compare it to black Americans, and it's not really the same. It's like when you come to America and you ask for a traditional food, because we've been here so long, it's going to include what's considered black American dishes. If you go to a regular diner, some of those dishes they cook, you can find in the black community because we've been here so long. We're at the base, we're at the root, the foundation. So we have had some type of impact on the cuisine in the country. But anyway, speaking of tradition, I don't know if I got what's call for this. Hold on. Yeah. So all that talking they said about Trump, saying that he's going to get rid of Black History Month and Juneteenth, but he's doing a lot differently. Trump holds Black History Month event as some agencies skip recognition after NTDI order. Honorable says, no, we don't. Stop letting these people trick you into feeling bad for them. If Africa had her shit together, we would be unstoppable, but we stand alone. Well, that's why they say it's our job. And I'm not saying I agree with this or disagree with this. It's up to people, whatever they believe. It is Black Americans' job to try and influence Africa. That's something you hear a lot of Pan-Africans say, that we should be the ones, because we have so much influence here in America, it's basically our Black Americans' job, it seems, and I'm not saying this is true or not, it's supposed to be Black Americans' job to make Africa, quote unquote, cool. I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. I'm just saying, we're supposed to make it cool. We're supposed to make it, the normal. I remember a few years ago, when there was a debate on social media, and there was an African guy who was angry at something a Black American said. He said, you guys don't even listen to our music. He was like, we're supposed to be, in Black America, because we have so much influence as far as the music, with rap music being at the top and all the sound of music and stuff being so influenced by Black Americans, we're supposed to support other Black music. We're supposed to support Afrobeat. We're supposed to support the music you hear in South Africa and stuff. We're supposed to make it cool and normalize so that they are able to, through the entertainment, build through that as well. Now you get more tourism, the music is more accepted, and when your music is accepted in a country, they start change the dynamic of how people view you as a culture in general. So yeah, anyway. I'm said that's the West Indies job, not Brazil. That's Brazil's job. Keeper says pass. Virginia says they're not like. Yeah. Anyway, Trump holds Black History Month event. Let me show this, because the first thing people said when they saw this is, what the hell was Tiger Woods doing there? Tiger Woods said that he is Kablasian. But now it's, one thing you gotta know, I'ma be a nigga for life. Tiger Woods got arrested for that DUI, and they put on his record he is Black. They ain't want to hear none of that Kablasian. They ain't want to hear none of that bullshit. He was Black. And now Trump, who he's a friend of, he's a friend of Trump. Trump asked for a favor for him to come out to this Black History event. You know, he showed up for his friend. Mark Gordon said, I hear someone called Afrobeat Mufasa James. I remember when what is that album that Beyonce did that was a Afrobeat? I saw she kept putting that music out, and I saw one of her fans said, I'll be happy when she stopped making that Mufasa music. And they was on her ass for like a month. They was on her ass for like a month. They was on her, they was pissed. Honorable says only problem. Honorable said I had what was that? I don't want Sambo conservatives getting credit for shifting for a shift from us. There's definitely a shift. Mark says, so now Tiger's black? Exactly. Honorable, Black is King, trash. Keep of that satanic album. Yeah, a lot of people was iffy on it here in America, but apparently it was really popular over there. But then they got mad at her and said that she was benefiting from using the aesthetic of Africa, but she wasn't really helping any Africans, even though that was all was on her album was African artists. But anyway, President Donald Trump marked Black History Month at the White House on Thursday by making an appearance at a celebrity reception with surprise guest golf legend Tiger Woods, while calling out other athletes in attendance and marveling at the size of the crowd. Trump also announced he planned to bring Alice Johnson, a prison reform advocate whom he pardoned in 2020, into his administration to work on clemency issues. Let me say this. This woman right here, Trump names Alice Marie Johnson as pardon czar during Black History Month event. This woman was serving a life sentence for a drug charge, nonviolent. He gave her a pardon in 2020, and now he made her the pardon czar. Hey, look, I said this a month ago. I saw how the right-wing commentators, political pundits was talking, and how they were talking about Black Americans in particular. And I told you that they're trying to merge a little bit and try to identify with the Americanists more than the racial. People say he's trolling. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out is this is not real. Pardon czar is not a real, it's a created position. He created this out of thin air. So you're right, he's trolling. But the part that I'm paying attention to is the same way Biden kept using Black women and giving them opportunities in his administration and putting them in certain positions to try and say, look, I'm helping Black people. Trump is doing it with something like this. He's basically saying, y'all keep saying that prison reform is such a big deal. Y'all keep making the biggest issue for Black people prison. Then, all right, I'm gonna choose a Black woman to be a pardon czar. So I'm guessing her job was to tell him who to pardon, I guess, or advocate who to pardon. Honorable said they were calling Mama Africa for us using a lot of West African, most artists were from South Africa, left my Now they got mad at her for calling herself Mama Africa. They got mad at that. But the White House Black History Month reception preserved the tradition, but it comes to the wake of the Trump issuing a wide-ranging executive order ending the federal government's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that disrupted any observance elsewhere. So let me jump to this. And you know, this whole Trump versus Black History Month. And it ended up, let me go here. Let's get that article. Trump announced his National Garden of Heroes during Black History celebration. Now, in this, he's supposed to add a bunch of statues. I think Kobe Bryant, Frederick Douglass. It's about 8 to 10 statues they're supposed to add. During Black History Month, this is we pay tribute to those heroes and so many others. Trump said not just because they were Black heroes, but also because they were truly American heroes who inspire all of us. And this is what made me really say, Trump is now pandering to Black people, somewhat. And it's almost in a mocking way. All the BS that the Democrats was doing to try and make themselves seem like they were so inclusive and so celebratory of Black people and how important they were to the country. Now Trump is doing it. Trump is doing it now. All right, we're going to put these platitudes and we're going to, this sentimental BS, we're going to do this. All right, I'm going to do it this way. And unfortunately, you got to understand, if it worked for one side, It's going to work for the other two. He said, we now have more black Republicans serving in the House since 1870, Trump said, adding that more accomplishments of black Americans will be celebrated during the nation's 270th birthday on July 4th. Now, it's funny he said July 4th and not Juneteenth, but we'll see. Anyway, I had the names of all. Here you go, I'm sorry. The garden will include statues of Harriet Tubman, Coretta Scott King, Rosa Parks, Billie Holiday, Aretha Franklin, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Jackie Robinson, Martin Luther King Jr., Muhammad Ali, Kobe Bryant, and others. All right, man. Anima says, I'm here for the Garden of Heroes. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, man. Celebration ain't always a bad thing, but I see his play. I want to see how this looks in a year, though. I want to see how it looks in a year. Also, some backlash came to some more black people who decided to go and stand next to Trump. You had Kodak Black, Boosie, and Rod Wave reportedly attend Trump's Black History Month event. You know, they were among those reported in attendance in the White House 2025 celebration of Black History, despite their dismantling of DEI programs across the country. Although I judged this paused that or stopped that, the whole DEI thing, so we'll see if that goes up the ladder more or if some rollbacks happen. We'll see. Tiger Woods was confirmed to be president, yada, yada, yada. I think I already went through most of this. Today, we pay tribute to generations of black legends, champions, warriors, and patriots who helped drive our country forward to greatness. And you really are great, great people. All right, man. Oh, let me show this. Because wasn't Kodak Black viral a few weeks ago because he was in the middle of the street doing drugs? Now he's standing in the White House with a Haitian flag. I mean, Mark says, don't care about statues. I want reparations and our people to be federally protected. We'll see. We're going to wait a year. Let me show this short video right quick. Short video, Trump.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here with you, Mr. President, and to be honored here with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Love you too. All right, over here.
Hey, man, they really consider Tiger Woods has to be considered a patriot. That man was offered $1 billion to go play in a Saudi Arabian golf tournament, and he turned it down. I'm just saying, he stayed with the PGA. He has to be. Honestly, I want both. I want the money and the power. All right. Speaking of reparations, I'm not gonna stay on this long, but I saw this. Thanks to Mark. Thanks for sending this. I think I got this from Mark. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. This right here. Breaking. California Republican lawmaker Billy and a coalition for a Just and Equitable California introduced historic bill to establish California American Freedmen Affairs Agency. Which reminds me of that bank. Yes, you heard that right. California Republican lawmaker Billy, I'm not trying to say his name, Eseli, that's how you say it, Eseli, working closely with grassroots, just introduced our bill to create a California American Freedmen Affairs Agency. The bill recognizes the historic contributions of the American citizens who inherited the legal and political status known as American freedmen and creates and empowers an Office of Freedmen Genealogy to immediately create and begin a process of identifying and verifying the status of American freedmen in California, which will ultimately empower future state efforts to serve as the foundational American population. I think this dude doing this just to embarrass them because of the failed bill they pushed earlier. This is the whole situation. It's an agency he's trying to start. The California Republican lawmaker for a Just and Equitable California introduces a historic bill to establish a California American Freedmen Affairs Agency. Then says, Wild Tiger and aging, no disrespect, just not. Tiger said, he already played the game. Got jammed up. He's not a young man no more. I think I got it right here. The fact that this dude's Republican is crazy. But then it says, interesting, his name is Bill, an essay, more talk, no action. Yeah, and it's Republican. That's the biggest part. This is why I think this is more of a mocking situation, but the fact that he's Republican pushing this is it's funny. All right, let's go. Let Let me show this right quick. Let me show this too. Then we'll get to that Duke Jackson video.
We can't cry because that makes you a bitch.
This is a guy talking about what he thinks the challenges of black manhood. And I'm gonna get to O'Shea Duke.
We can't cry because that makes you a bitch. You can't admit that you're in pain because that makes you weak.
Yeah.
You can't admit that you're sad because that makes you weak. And if that was it, Keenan, that would be bad enough.
Yeah.
But we won't admit we're happy.
Wow.
Because we might look goofy. We can't admit we're excited because we got to act like we've been there before. We can't admit we're in love because it means somebody has control over us.
So you're stuck in this
stoic reality of manhood that actually reduces my humanity. So I am at the greatest level of strength when I don't feel shit.
Now I'm gonna go from that to this. In this video, he basically, this is a shout out to Kiefer. He sent this to me, and most of the sentiments he said, we obviously agree. I agree with most of what he said, probably all of what he said, honestly. Because this video is about black men in their, Donald Trump is a necessary evil. I think it's the name of the video. Donald Trump is a necessary evil for black men, and he talks about the relationship, in particular, black men have with the Democratic Party. So I'm gonna play some of this. I'm not gonna play this whole thing at 59 minutes. I'm gonna jump through and play some of his talking points.
So much that
because Donald Trump is the president, it's a necessary evil for black men. What do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, just look at what Donald Trump is doing right now. I mean, he is exposing so much that has been kind of concealed in the U.S. And I'm going to say this. I'm not saying this because I'm a Trump stan or a MAGA person or whatever. I'm a political realist.
Okay.
I'm a political independent and everything like that.
Okay.
I didn't support Kamala Harris's, candidacy.
Okay.
And I knew that it would, she would be another distraction in my mind.
Okay.
It was my perspective that, the issues of the economy, which are very big, prices, inflation, those things are very, very important. Immigration was a very, very, big thing in the election. Black people were really feeling it, particularly your lower income blacks, your working class blacks.
Okay.
The people in Chicago, they go into war with Brandon Johnson out there over that. You've got Eric Adams in New York City. He's been going at it. He was going at it with the Biden administration and everything. So those are just, two examples from a larger issue, man, that the Democratic Party had flooded the country with a whole lot of, illegal people. You know what I'm saying? And that's a real thing in terms of the prospects of black people in general, but black men in particular. And then there were the international issues. What are you going to do with Ukraine? What you going to do with Israel, Russia, all these other things? And so the Democratic Party was destroyed by Trump.
And that's kind of the point of most of it, what he's saying. He's basically saying, and I disagree with him on this part. I don't think that Trump destroyed them. I think they destroyed themselves. They ate themselves alive. Most of the actions they've taken to try and combat Trump has led to their own downfall. Let me jump a little bit ahead. Let me see if this is what I'm looking for.
They voted for Trump, okay?
Okay.
Or they are a traditional Democrat who was so frustrated with the Democratic Party that instead of sitting out or voting third party, they voted against Kamala Harris and voted for Donald Trump. You understand? And so now, as a consequence of that, the Democratic Party is in disarray. You know, I mean, you had all the stuff. I mean, they had gone overboard with abortion. They had gone overboard with the trans stuff. They were not really dealing with the economy. They were just really dealing with very extreme impulses on the left, which don't amount to anything in terms of bread and butter, things that really, really matter.
So obviously he's speaking on all the issues they were trying to take on socially and weren't focused on the economy and stuff that 99% of the country didn't give a damn about. And I'm going to jump to this last part where he says something at the end here. Let me play this.
Of his publication, Beyond Death in Jail, Anti-Blackness, Black Masculinity, and a Demonic Imagination. Basically, it deals with the whole Black Lives Matter period. So it deals with the time that Trayvon Martin was murdered on February 26, 2012, until the very anniversary of his murder, and that was February 26, 2022. Okay. And it deals with all the murders and stuff like that. So the names that I've already named so far. And so the book, it deals with the real situation with Black men, a situation that this country has ignored, that the intellectuals ignored, the politicians ignored, and all this kind of stuff. The Black male condition has been characterized by this death in jail thing. And there have been real efforts politically to avoid all interventions, not just to avoid, but to deter, to derail any type of interventions that would, help to improve the condition of Black men. We talked about affirmative action again. Affirmative action, we're talking about stuff from the 1960s. Affirmative action was never used to target the Black male condition in the United States. And that is for real, deliberate political reasons, okay? The country, the ruling class, and I talk about the ruling class here, the oligarchs and stuff like that, they were deliberate. They said, we're going to go with women. We're going to empower women for the next 60 years. We've been told that race has been a part of this 60-year story in terms of racial empowerment. No, but the actual thing is, over the last 60 years, we've seen more advances for women, okay, than we have for people who are Black American, okay, particularly Black American men, okay, and it goes deep into the politics of why that exists. But here's the thing. This book, the latter end of the title talks about what I call the demonic imagination. And simply, what is this? Is that we Black men are plagued with the belief that we are inherently flawed, that there is something deeply deficient about us. And the reason why so many Black men find themselves challenged to navigate society and move up the ranks is not because they're dealing with the hostilities of a white capitalist society. It's because there's something wrong with them.
Now, what he just said there, now that's the last part I watched on that. It was a good video, good interview he did. That is something I've seen academics say. I've seen people who are professors, PhDs, all the other stuff, say stuff that, like, they'll say the term how Black men need to be re-socialized, which is, that's crazy to me to hear people in academia, people who have studied and all this other, come to the conclusion that there needs to be a complete re-socializing of Black men. Like, something is innately wrong with them. That is literally, now I'm not saying this term because I'm not being Tariq right now. That is literally a white supremacist talking point. That is straight out of, what's the name of that movie that came out in 1900? Birth of a Nation. that type of rhetoric. You're innately something is criminal or something is evil about you. Virginia says, I would lie and smack dab in the middle of the word believe. The word lie is, yeah. All right, but yeah, he pretty much in that whole situation was talking about how the Democratic Party failed itself and how they focused on certain social issues that weren't important. You know, obviously you heard him bring up the abortion thing and the transgender thing and the pushing of the LGBT stuff and the whole party, for the most part, I mean, I think it was 2020, didn't the most women ever run for office? You had Klobuchar, you had Kamala Harris, you had Elizabeth Warren. I think it was like, what's her name? The one who just got in office with Trump now, the Hawaiian woman, I forgot her name. There was the most women ever ran, and it's clear that the party is leaning towards that being the new standard. I'm very interested in seeing how many women will run in 2028. What, other than Wes, what's his name? The guy, the Wes, whatever his name is. It might be one or two men I think will run for president in 2028. That's Wes and Newsom. But I don't even know if Newsom runs anymore. I think that boat is sailed. But 3 years, we'll see if he changes the image.
Ongoing nightmare.
Dominique Hack.
Just gonna do an update on this. Not gonna read the article. Former NICU nurse charged with harming 7 babies released on bond. A former NICU nurse in Virginia was accused of being responsible for bruises and fractures on babies in her care, black babies. She has been released on a $25,000 bond. Yeah. That's just an update on that. Let me move to this. Let me show this. Alabama senator wants life sentences for those using Glock switches. A Saturday night in September in Birmingham's 5 Point South neighborhood, a night of the town for many turned ugly for some deadly. More than 100 rounds were fired in seconds, leaving 4 people dead, 17 injured. That's 21 people whose lives were forever changed. The 21 families, some were destroyed and some were just altered, and our hearts go out to them. Police now believe that many, if not all of those alleged rounds were fired using a gun or guns modified with a Glock switch. People are calling out. They want to be safe when they go out. They want us to do what we can do, and that's just one of the many things that we are doing to continue to do. So the Glock switch situation has been a problem the last couple of years, but this reminds me a lot of in one particular place, LA, where a person who commits a crime and is a quote unquote civilian will get a certain sentence, but a person who commits a crime and has gang membership background, they'll get a totally different sentence. I don't know. Now, if I kill somebody, that's one thing, but if I kill somebody using a Glock switch, I get more time. But modifying a weapon, I guess that's the reason for that. And it being considered a more dangerous weapon was ups his level of concern. I don't know. But it is Alabama, so I wouldn't be surprised if this makes it through. Alabama don't play. What's this? Yeah. Jump to this. Sorry, hold on. All right. How did every passenger walk out of a fiery Delta plane crash in Toronto? I've seen headlines of a plane crash at least 3 times a week for the past month. It's getting, and I always say this, the only time you know about something like this is when the media wants you to know. So they'll focus on certain things to make the situation seem more serious than it is sometimes. And I'm going to show there may be proof of that. So now plane crashes are the biggest story. Every week there's multiple plane crashes. At least you're going to get at least one. But this plane somehow landed upside down and everybody walked away alive and well, which I will say changed my perspective of seatbelts. Because I always start when you get on the plane and they tell you to, put your seatbelt on. Look, if this plane go down, a seatbelt ain't going to do a thing. Like, you might as well just, do your crosses and throw it up in the air. It's over. But it seemed in this situation, seatbelts did save them, possibly, some of them. Investigators are attempting to determine how all 76 passengers and 4 crew members of Line 19 survived after their plane crash landed at Toronto Pearson International Airport on Monday. Despite the plane skidding down the runway at over 100 miles per hour, flipping over and losing a wing, all 80 people on board walked away with minimal injuries. Praise God, man.
We're in Toronto. We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down. Fire department's on site. Upside down. Everybody, most people appear to be okay. We're all getting off. Some smoke going on.
Another thing that's funny is how the second Trump got in office, this became his fault in the FAA because they're saying, you know, Trump is firing all these people so they don't have the proper staff and all the other stuff. But just last year, and really the last 2 years, the story has been that these airline companies are cutting corners to save money. Somehow it flipped to Trump, but just last year we knew it was the airline, it was them. They weren't properly putting money into these factories and stuff to make sure that these things were done properly. They were cutting corners on purpose. Lawsuits were filed. Then I want to show this plane crash happened here in Arizona with 2 people died. But then this, Elon Musk says SpaceX team will review FAA air traffic control systems. On his social media platform, Elon posted, SpaceX engineers will help make air travel safer after job cuts at FAA. But somebody put this up. Now, I don't know if this is completely true, but these are the statistics. Somebody posted this from the website. If you look at every year, these are all the plane crashes that happen per month every year. If you look at January of 2025, it is the least amount of plane crashes, at least in the last 15 years. But if you look at the news media, it's been treated like it's the most ever. It's the least. Last year was 80. This year is 60. Last year was 80 plane crashes in January. This year was only 62. Last year was 93 plane crashes in February. This year has only been 26. So it is kind of, once again, the media can make you think something is more of a bigger deal than it really is when you look at the numbers. Then this is Elon calling for a journalist to get a long prison sentence. And I want to stop to say this. When Trump started aligning himself with Elon Musk, I still don't know the angle, because Elon clearly is one of those weird, socially awkward dudes who, when he's given some power, he kind of acts it out. He's acting like he has more influence than I think he does. I've seen, so obviously you see mainstream media or legacy media is constantly painting him as the real president and Trump is his puppet or whatever. And I don't think that's what it is. I think Trump is next to Elon for another purpose. There's another reason why he's quote unquote empowering him. But these type of comments, these type of headlines coming from him is not surprising. Like I said, he's kind of a weird guy. And he got jammed up, by the way. One of his, the number one influencer on Twitter, the person who's making the most money for their videos, she posted this a few weeks ago saying how much money she make. When I said that was last year, I'm sorry. She now come out and said that she has a baby with him for the last 5 months, and that just so happened to be the woman who has the most influence making the most money for her from her account. So Elon Musk now has 13 children with 4 women. And I'm gonna say this, he's kind of looked at a little bit differently than someone like Nick Cannon. I'm just saying. Maybe we can say both of them are quote unquote creating these broken homes or whatever, but it is talked about a little bit differently. Virginia says, M and Cyborg, why does he want this journalist to go to prison for 60-minute decisions? That dude went hard on Kamala. Well, right here it says, Mark, a senior advisor of Trump White House, targeted the long-running CBS News broadcast on X February 16th. The Tesla CEO, 53, spoke out against the CBS News broadcaster after it shared a quote on X from former Republican USAID Administrator Andrew, in which he denies President Donald Trump's claims that the agency is rife with fraud. 60 Minutes are the biggest fraud liars in the world. Musk, who worked to dismantle U.S. aid in recent weeks. So obviously somebody who was a part of U.S. aid said that it's not flooded with fraud. He quoted it on 60 Minutes, and now Elon wants him arrested for being a liar and saying that he should be in prison for a long sentence. So yeah, he just kind of comes off the cuff when somebody disagrees with him, which does comes off as a bit of a dictator type person. But you know, he's a billionaire. At least they tell us he's a billionaire, should I say. But we'll see how that goes. Virginia says the double standards are too many to name around baby daddies and baby mamas. Shake my head. Don't Trump got a baby mama too? Or was he married to her? I think he might have been married to his the kid, the first woman. So I don't want to say he's a baby daddy or whatever. But historically, there's some crazy stories that happened with presidents. I forgot his name. There was one president of America. No, that was in the UK. I'm sorry. There was a prime minister back in I want to say the early 1900s. I forgot his name. His wife was openly having an affair with another man, and he just allowed it. This is your prime minister. And it happened with one of their kings as well, or what they consider their king, one of their political leaders. His wife was openly having an affair, and the public knew it, and it just was like, whatever. Also, Elon is having a lot of influence with Trump when it comes to South Africa, because you know South Africa is trying to kick out a lot of the white farmers again, or a lot of white people, should I say. Oh, sorry. They want to take the land. They want to take the land back from the white people. And Elon is saying that that's a genocide they're trying to call for, and how racist it is. And now you've been hearing for the last couple of weeks that you're going to see South Africans become refugees in America. Keeper said he got married to, I think her name was Marla or something like that. Yeah, okay, so they were married, so that's a little different, but all right. Even though we know Bill Clinton 100%. What's that? It was that woman and her son that came out and said that he was his father, the black woman. I think she was a stripper or a prostitute. And her son came out and said that's his dad. He looked just like Bill Clinton. So I would imagine a lot of presidents got some bastard kids out here they don't they don't claim. I mean, you're the president of a country, you know, we know how that go, unfortunately. But back to the South Africa thing, I saw this right here. This is one of these South Africans. White farmers in South Africa produce 95% of all the corn, 96% of all the soybeans, 98% of all the wheat, 97% of all the cotton, 97% of all the citrus, 99% of all the potato, 91% of all the tomato, 89% of the wool, 66% of the cattle, and 95% of all poultry. Why are the black farmers not commercially producing? They do own millions of acres of land. Anonymous says, Amber Heard baby is Elon's too. Funny they stopped writing about when the trial was over. Yeah. Elon, the people he has children with is just the most random. An actress, I think two of them are actors. One of them is a social media influencer. And by the way, one of his baby mamas, the latest one, off of Twitter or X, she used to do race play captions, or I don't know, I want to call it porn, but she used to do race play type of sexual posts back a couple years ago. The alt-right found her old tweets. They found her old tweets talking about black men penis. What a surprise, you know. So she's been exposed as pretty much a prostitute. She had a post from like a couple years ago where she was saying how she wants to marry Elon, which means she wanted to have his baby, and hey, she succeeded. So congrats to her. Anyway, I'm gonna show this more South African reaction. Let me show this.
Don't have the strength to
Now, this dude is not South African. This is a white dude saying that white people don't have their own land.
enforce laws. Then a
Or
home
own
for
country.
everyone is a home for no one.
Yeah, no, but so
we want, like, what my most important contention is, and my biggest argument for what we want as a future is a home, individually and collectively. White, if you let me finish, Sam, because I can see you trying to interject.
I haven't
as a
been
young
interjecting.
white
I'm
person,
listening.
I know, I know.
No, you don't.
I'd appreciate it if I just get 30 seconds. White people deserve a home. There's 1.4 billion Chinamen, there's 1.4 billion Indians, there's a billion Africans, there's a billion Arabs, and they've all got their own countries. Now if there was a white country on earth, I don't want to leave Australia, but if you said to me, Tom, why don't you go live in Poland or Lithuania or Latvia or whatever, I would say, look, it's tempting, but I love Australia. It is tempting because I don't like what's happening to this country. I think white people deserve a home collectively. They have a home. We don't have one. We're being told that Australia is for everyone, and if it's for everyone, then it's for no one.
You know, it's funny. This reminds me of Cain in the Bible. You know, a vagabond, never have a land, will always roam the earth searching for somewhere to call their own. Australia, not y'all's though. Y'all literally went to Australia. I'm sorry, y'all sent prisoners to Australia to become citizens. There's an Aboriginal people there. There's an indigenous group that was already there. What are you talking about? Y'all are the only group that decided to go into other people's countries. Everybody else, except like Genghis Khan and all that stuff, most people mind their business. Most people, up until that run by Genghis Khan and stuff, historically, people tend to want to separate. I'm going to keep my country, and if I do take over your country, I'm going to completely destroy. I'm going to kill all the men, and I'm going to breed out all the women. Y'all are the ones that couldn't do it. Y'all would come in with your weapons, which was your advantage at some point, but y'all were unable to completely destroy all the people. Some races you did. We talk about the Indians and the Caribbeans and all that stuff. In the Caribbean, the what do they call them? The indigenous people in the Caribbean, most of them were killed off. But when we start talking about historic, y'all didn't do the job right. Let's be honest. So now y'all trying to do soft power and be nice to everybody. Yeah, you got these same people that you was fucking with back in the day. They come to your countries now, and they ain't trying to go to war with weapons. They're just outbreeding you. It is what it is. Honorable says that they blame all Elon's strange behavior on his father abusing the family. Yeah. Keeper says, shut up. Damn, crybaby. Regina, when White speaks, hear them. He just admitted some very interesting truths. Whites don't have. I thought they were the kings of the world. He sound desperate. Exactly. Regina says, so Europe isn't theirs after all. They already know that. White people, the reason why Caucasian people have this conquering spirit is because they literally are the ones who started at the bottom of mankind. When people say this, it's not just some hotep Israelite stuff to say that these people literally were in caves. That's not fake. That's real. They were at the bottom of society, bottom of the world. They have this conquering spirit placed on them. That's why they constantly try to be at the top. They're the mountain people. This is who they are. You know, they have cities with they want the cities with tall buildings. They don't want, this is who they are. But him admitting to what we already know, which is that they're vagabonds on the earth. That's what they are.
That's my position. And second to that, collectively, is individually. I individually cannot afford a home. My father bought a home on 3 years' wages. I could not even buy a 200 square meter block of dirt in Tarneet.
Now he sounds like a leftist. I keep saying that the young whites, the young Caucasians are angry because they can't live the same fattened life of their fathers. Your fathers, hey man, they used all the goodwill. They spent the money. They didn't save. They didn't pass nothing down to you. For the first generation, this is probably the first generation where the whites didn't pass it all down. Historically, they tried to pass it down like everybody else. They didn't pass it down this time. You're not going to be able to buy a house on a factory job. No, sir. You're not going to be able to work at McDonald's and pay off your scholarship.
For 3 years' wages. So because of the conditions the government has put our generation through, I and the people younger than me are getting locked out of the market. And when we do afford a home, like where I rent, where I can't even afford where I rent, I take my child to the playground, Sam. And every single other child at the playground is speaking a foreign language to their parents. My child is the only child at the playground that's speaking English. And I'm surrounded by people that are being told, oh, this is a great multicultural diversity, and it just means less white people, less white culture, and ultimately, we're going to turn into global South Africa.
You know, it's funny because the same dudes that talk like this, these super white nationalist talking points, they end up having a wife who's not white. It'd be some Asian, Arab, maybe some West African, East African woman. It'd be some woman who's not white who be their wife or the woman they had kids with, but they talk this way. It's not really about you. It's not really the people you want out. It's the men you want out. And then, it is what it is. I get it. Speaking of invaders, Mexico warns the U.S. not to invade our sovereignty and fight against cartels. So Sheinbaum, the Jewish president of Mexico, is threatening the United States to not send in troops, that they will work with them to battle the cartel. Been dealing with the cartel for decades, ain't did shit to stop them. Now we posted, all right, whatever. Virginia said, realizing their recessive gene is dying off, I guess this crime makes sense. Well, I said, once you saw white men in the streets protesting, it's over. The only time you go on the streets and protest if you feel like you're not heard. The people who are supposed to be the top of the food chain are in the streets protesting. It's already over. That was over, man. The warning comes after the U.S. classified 6 of Mexico's biggest organized crime groups as foreign terrorist organizations. During her morning press briefing, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said the U.S. made the decision to designate the cartels as terrorist groups unilaterally without consulting Mexico. She said Mexico, like the U.S., is committed to fighting drug cartels, but through cooperation, not coercion. It's funny how people have accused you of getting your position because of your connection to cartels, but the designation should not be used by the United States as an opportunity to invade our sovereignty. President Trump has in the past floated the idea of bombing Mexico's drug cartels in an effort to stop flow of synthetic drugs. In a recent interview with Fox News, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said all options will be on the table when it comes to dealing with the cartels. This shouldn't really be much of a back and forth. If you have the most militarily equipped country in the world saying, hey, we want to help you deal with your cartel problem because they're affecting us, it's not really a no-win situation. And yeah, I know America is dirty. They're going to use this as a reason to go into the country and do all type of other stuff. And, it is what it is. But you ain't been able to deal with this cartel the last 30, 40 years. I mean, at some point. But then again, we know the cartel is also an American entity. U.S. and Ukraine appear to move closer to deal for minerals amid leaders' public feud. Y'all see Trump call Zelensky a dictator? He said he's a dictator because apparently there needs to be an election that they're not hosting. And Trump calling them out. So it's clear that Zelensky is in play for Trump as a possible way to heal up what's going on with Russia. Zelensky is very scared that he's going to be giving up. He already came out and said that they didn't get all that billion. I think it was 100 and something billion they were supposed to be giving. He said we only got 70 or whatever it was. So he already exposing that the books were cooked. I didn't get all the money I was supposed to be getting. So we'll see. Virginia says dictator comedian. President Trump on Friday continued to bash President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine and pressure him for mineral rights. Quid pro quo. The Trump administration appeared to be making progress on Friday toward a deal that would give the United States valuable mineral rights in Ukraine. The moment came after a week in which President Trump initially rebuffed on the agreement, turned up the pressure by selling Ukraine as suggesting they would side with Russia in seeking to end the war there. Mr. Trump boasted at the White House that he was nearing a deal that could bring up to $500 billion to the United States. So we're signing an agreement, hopefully in the next fairly short period of time. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine likewise said his country was working on a draft agreement between the two governments, seemingly tempering down the tensions that have flared with Trump over a deal. People says cross-dressing. So Trump is pretty much like, look, give us these mineral rights or we're going to give you up to Russia. Pretty much. He's making a deal pretty much. Zelensky's friend list dwindling in Trump's White House as peace talks tension grows because best case is that he leaves to France immediately. While the deterioration between the House of Washington and Kiev appears sudden, one source familiar with the White House discussion told the Post Thursday, it's nothing new to me. But Zelensky's days are numbered, it seems. The stimulus package they've been sending over there to Ukraine is on pause, at least. We'll see how that goes. We see Israel. That situation was somewhat dealt with, but Trump is now saying he wants to take over the Gaza so they can get the resources out of there himself. So we'll see if he ends up falling out with them too. All right. Donald Trump was recruited by the KGB under codename Krasnov, claims former Soviet spy chief. Now they're saying Trump was being recruited by the KGB. People says, good, they need to audit Ukraine. Well, that's what DOGE is supposed to be doing. That's why I say, if you see that situation with Ukraine and the money go away, that means the mineral situation, that's to pay that off so they don't they don't do too much investigating in that situation. There's a lot of heads will roll if that happened. A former senior Soviet KGB spy chief has claimed that Donald Trump was recruited as a spy by Russian intelligence as early as 38 years ago by his department and given a code name Krasnov. Russia's Committee for State Secretary, abbreviated as KGB, was the main security agency in the Soviet Union between 1954 and 1991, responsible for internal security, foreign intelligence, and counterintelligence, and secret police functions. In an extraordinary post on Facebook on 20th of February, the person who used to run who was the successor to the Soviet-era KGB in Kazakhstan, claimed that he was personally aware of Trump recruitment by the agency in 1987. Is this really surprising? Aren't most politicians most influential people in other countries recruited by some intelligence agency? I'm sure America has plenty of people throughout the world who are considered just regular billionaire influencers or politicians or whatever who have some type of ties to the CIA. So this ain't surprising. This is spy wars. This happened with every government. DOGE says ID code for 4.7 trillion in federal payments often left blank. It was left blank so that they can't track it. Oh man, them exposing this is funny to me. The Department of Government Efficiency said Monday in the identification field and federal government transaction reports for approximately 4.7 trillion in payments had often been left blank. A Treasury access symbol, which the Department of Treasury defines as an identification code for an appropriation, receipt, or other fund account, when blank, made traceability nearly impossible, according to DOGE, the White House unit led by Elon Musk. I keep saying I've seen the word trillion more times in the last couple of years than I have in my whole life. They're just throwing money left and right, just losing money, quote unquote. Can't find this. The Pentagon just losing $1 trillion and get yelled at by Congress for a little bit and then going back to business like nothing happened. Also saw, I don't know if this is true, I think Elon Musk came out and said that the money that they're getting or saving with the DOGE situation, that they want to give Americans $5,000. A lot of, if they do that, a lot more Trump supporters are going to pop up. That's all I'm saying. Oh, this is it right here. Trump backs idea to send some DOGE savings to American citizens. President Donald Trump said that he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency back to U.S. citizens as a kind of dividend. He said at an investment conference in Miami. He said at an investment conference in Miami on Wednesday that the administration is considering the concept in which 20% of savings produced by DOGE cost-cutting efforts goes to American citizens and another 20% goes to paying down the national debt. Trump also said the potential of dividend payments would incentivize people to report wasteful spending. They'll be reporting it on themselves, Trump said. They're participating in the process of saving us money. Later, as he flew back to Washington aboard Air Force One, he was asked by a reporter about the plan floated by Musk. I love it, the Republican president told reporters on the plane. A day earlier, Musk wrote on his social media platform that he will check with the president in response to a suggestion that President Musk should announce a DOGE dividend that would send a refund taxpayers for part of the savings created by DOGE in efforts to, he had already led to thousands of federal government employees being fired or laid off. Mark Gordon said, they give us $5,000 to hold, they take millions. They give you the crumbs. Hey, here's $5,000. Go buy you a Gucci belt or something. It's another situation. I keep saying that Trump, he keeps kind of inferring that he wants to get rid of the Federal Reserve. He's doing a lot of things that's leading that way. Elon Musk urges U.S. to audit gold at Fort Knox base for the first time in over 50 years. Now, the public or anybody who's ever heard Fort Knox, have read anything about Fort Knox and anything around it, we already know that it's empty. That Fort Knox is empty. There's nothing in there. It's supposed to be the gold for the country. We're supposed to back our dollar, but we know it's gone, and that we're not backed by oil or lead, which is the bullets. Shout out to Pastor Darby. Elon Musk urges U.S. officials to audit how much gold is in the Fort Knox military base in Kentucky, addressing decades-old conspiracy that U.S. gold reserves are no longer there. The senior advisor for President Donald Trump has shared a few posts on X criticizing the lack of annual audits determining the amount of gold there. He responded to a user's post Saturday suggesting that Tesla CEO ensure the gold remains there with a question. Surely it's reviewed at least every year. Now that is funny. The place that is supposed to be holding the gold, that is supposed to be the representation of the wealth of the country, hasn't been checked in 50 years? All right. And I wonder, if they check Fort Knox and it's proven, based off the conspiracies, that there's no gold in there, I wonder how the public would even react. Would they even care? Would they even recognize what that means? Or would people just go on with their day? Then it says, the fact that Ye lost his billies, Fort Knox ain't got no gold, the $1 trillion is worth salad and nothing. Exactly. $1 trillion. Remember, I think it was Trump that said that. No, it was Biden. This was like 2022, 2023. Biden, when he said he was going to create a coin, when they were talking about creating these whatchamacallit coins represent the new form of currency. He said he wanted to represent a coin that said this coin is $1 trillion so he can pay off a debt. Just say we're going to create a coin, a digital coin, and say it's worth $1 trillion to pay off debts. All right. It's fake anyway. Who cares? This was the article here. We already talked about it. Trump calls Zelensky a dictator in latest smear. Why it matters. A dictator without elections, Zelensky better move fast or he is going to have he's not going to have a country left. Trump wrote on Truth Social. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered. Trump referred to Zelensky as a most modestly successful comedian. Trump referred to Zelensky as a modestly successful comedian and claimed he talked the United States of America into spending billions of dollars to go to war they couldn't be won. Regina said, "Yep, the word appears to operate based on word swords." Yeah, Arnold said that coin would have lasted a week. Oh man. So yeah, you already talked about this. You called him a dictator, whatever. 3 more. Social media heads down. Social Security head steps down over DOGE excess of recipient information, sources say. The Social Security Administration acting commissioner has stepped down from her role at the agency over Department of Government efficiency requests to access Social Security recipient information, according to 2 people familiar with the official departure who are not authorized to discuss the matter publicly. Mark Gordon, remember when Biden said America is doomed and that we have to talk to the Hispanic community? Exactly. He said, you better learn how to speak Spanish now or get in good with them because they're the ones that's going to take over. And it's funny because right after that, this is before he even got elected, or was it right after? I can't remember. This is before. There was on a Zoom meeting. One of those Zoom meetings that he wanted Ice Cube to be a part of instead of meeting in person. But anyway, he said that, and then he brought in millions of them into the country. He allowed millions of them to cross over into the country. So he was warning you because he knew what he was about to do. All right. We can skip that. Yeah, we can skip that. Last one. We already talked about that too. Trump attack on Zelensky stirs fear of major U.S. shift on Russia. Well, we already know that's going to happen because Trump is going. The last thing Trump wants to do is go to war with somebody like Russia. Somebody like Biden, or maybe even Obama, because that's somebody even who's really the president. He might have wanted something like that, but I don't think Trump deals well with stuff like that. I remember when he came out and said that he killed the Iranian general. And you could look at Trump's face and tell that he's not one of those people that's. I'm not gonna say he's a good person when it comes. I don't think he's a good. I'm not saying he's a good person, but you could tell he didn't do well with making the decision to kill someone. And I'm sure he's called for a lot of drone strikes and he gets on social media and he bloats and all that stuff and talks crazy. But I saw his face when they killed that general from Iran that he's not really with the smoke. he don't really want to be the person that take a country to war. I don't think Trump wants that. Virginia says, I do recall Biden stating that but instead, why does it feel as if the Indians, India, are the ones running things? Are they another proxy? Well, the Indians are being placed, so they use the Mexicans to take over the lower end careers and stuff. And the Indians are coming over doing the engineering, tech jobs. So you see them at the head of these big corporations like Google and all that stuff. So it's like they bring different groups in for different things. Even a lot of the Africans, you see them in the medical field and all the other stuff. Even like lawyers and stuff, doctors. Obviously, Haiti is known for their nursing. Not Haiti, I'm sorry. Cuba, known for their in Haiti too, but they're known for their nurses and stuff. But they bring each demographic in for certain strengths. Chinese people are known for coming in. They're doing the mathematics and science and all that other stuff. But yeah. All right, I think I kept y'all long enough. I'm about to get out of here. Hold on. Thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Hold on. All right. Anyway, thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. Be sure to like it on your way out. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're not. Mark says those are all skills we can do, but they can pay less to them. You talk about India, Mexico, and all those places. They're coming from countries where they're making pennies on the dollar compared to America. So I can pay them less, get more of them over here, and I can get more bang for my buck. So it is what it is. Anyway, keep it. Thank you. Have a great week. You too. Blessings to you and your family. And Regina, yep, pay less. Yep. It's always about making more money. And the less expense, more profit. But anyway, thank y'all for coming through. As always, appreciate the support. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.